able to fix that. Don't stress me out. I'm already stressing here. Looks like a pumpkin. Hello guys, I have a thrift haul from a thrifting trip that I did like 3 months ago. This was before Cassian was born and he's already 2 months now. So this has been a long time coming, but one of these items I wanted to flip. So this inspired me to go into my collection of things that I've thrifted and do some other projects as well. So I have 3 thrift flips for you guys today. And all of these are kind of like an organic, modern style slash vintage. Can I put those together? I will. So I think that they turned out really beautiful, but I was not sure any of them were gonna work out. So stay tuned, please. Bear with the process and I think you will love the results. Also, today's a collaboration video with Courtney from Heart and Home Crew. So if you haven't watched any of her content yet, she shares a lot of things similar to what I do here. So I think you will really enjoy it, but she shares DIY and thrifting, organization, homemaking, and how they are turning their home, which is a century-old home. It is beautiful, into a home for their 4 kids. And it is just so fun. So make sure that you go over and check her out. I think today she's sharing a DIY in her kitchen. So I'll leave it vague like that. Go check out what she's up to. I will leave her video linked in the description down below, and I'll remind you at the end of today's video. And if you're new here from Courtney's channel, welcome. My name is Emily, and I'm a wife and mother to 3 little boys. We just had our 3rd little one 2 months ago, so we have a lot going on in this house. But on this channel, I enjoy sharing my love for thrifting and DIY and home renovations. We're renovating with my parents this home, which is a 1970s Spanish Mediterranean style home in Florida. So we have a lot of fun over here. I share a lot of ramblings on motherhood and faith, and we have a good time. So let's go ahead and head to the thrift store, then we'll come home for a haul, and then we'll get into some DIYs.
Close to their chest are the keys kept to the night. And everyone's watching, everyone's waiting, everyone's praying for the first break of the light.
Multi-hot dog. I feel like it's begging to be a thrift flip. Like something decorative, maybe? I don't know. Any ideas? This is a cool bowl, Benjamin, isn't it? What do you think of that one? Oh, it's kind of beat up in there. I might be able to fix that. You had a baby bowls?
Only in waiting, only in praying can my hope survive.
Okay.
The footprints the stars leave behind, cloud cover keeps them a secret tonight. And they cannot see me, they cannot hear me, they cannot heed these my lingering cries.
Yay! Alright, so those clips were literally like 10 minutes because I had Benji with me, who is our 2-year-old, and I was like massively pregnant and we needed to go pick up my 4-year-old from preschool. So it was like bam, bam, bam. And amazingly, we did find something and nothing in the thrift store was broken. So that's a win. So the first thing that I got was this mug. I mean, it can be used for a lot of different things, like a little plant or as a like a little vase or like a toothbrush or something. I just loved the color of it. This, I don't know what color this is, but it's definitely handmade. It doesn't say who on there, but I just thought that was really sweet. So I've recently switched to drinking only decaf coffee because I was like hardcore addicted to caffeine, and I realized that it wasn't really helping me because I was just staying up late knowing that I could drink coffee in the morning and be okay. But I'm trying to take better care of my health, so I think that this will be perfect for my decaf coffee in the morning. This little mug was $2. So the next thing I got was these coasters. I love anything natural stone or like handmade or wood. Anything that's just natural. I love it. So I got these marble coasters. My plan for these is to use them in the kitchen because we always have way too many glasses. I think that's like a common theme in most families. So my plan is to have one for Dominic, my husband, and one for me, so that we only have one glass out. It has to be on the coaster, but I don't know if that'll work, but this was only $1 for both of these. Okay. All right, now bear in mind, this was 3 months ago, and sometimes I forget why I got something. It's not a great sign. I was also pregnant, so I don't know why exactly I bought this. And like, it was 50 cents for this because it was 50% off of $1. I'm not sure. I think that my plan for this was to use it as a vase for dried flowers, like coming out of it to look kind of like organic, modern, wood, kind of different than just a normal like ceramic or glass vase. I don't know. What would you guys use this for? I guess it's probably a candle holder, but you can't put a candle in wood, can you? That doesn't make any sense. All right, so those are the items that I got that didn't need to be flipped, but let's dive into these thrifted flip DIYs. We're gonna start with the first item that I did find at this thrift store, and then I've got 2 more for you. So the next item from this trip was this bowl, and it's a really beautiful shape. I love the shape, but it has a lot of imperfections in the inside of it. So I showed you guys this cutting board a few months ago that I found at the Goodwill bins. It's a really good brand, Dance thing, but it has all these marks on it, and so I don't think it's like really that food safe. But you guys told me that I could sand this, and so I looked into it. Sure enough, you can sand cutting boards, so I thought, why not do the same for this bowl? And it could be like a really beautiful fruit bowl or just like decor bowl. Okay, so what you're about to see was a bit terrifying. So I started by using a coarse grit sandpaper. I think this was about 80, and what you can see here is it was really changing the color, and I've never seen dust like this. I don't know if this is good. So I believe why this sawdust was so different is because this cutting board had been oiled, which you should oil all of your cutting boards, and so it was very oily sawdust. That's kind of a weird thing to describe, but it was very sticky, and I felt like every time that I would create a little bit of dust, it wouldn't just brush off. I actually went in to my deep sink and would like wash this off and lay it out in the sun in between sands so that I could see what I was doing. So if you have been following along around here, then you know I've been talking about motherhood and postpartum and the transition from 2 to now 3 boys. And so today I wanted to just open the conversation about mom guilt, because as sweet as it is that, you know, I'm watching these clips now and it looks all fun and everything, but when I was in the moment, I was actually feeling a lot of guilt for not playing with chalk with my son over there. So I looked up a Christian perspective on what mom guilt is. I know this is something it's like a phrase that's kind of thrown around. And so what is it actually though? And so she suggested really calling it, instead of I feel like I have mom guilt, calling it like I feel like I am a failure as a mom. And so I know that I am not a failure as a mom. I mean, I have 3 thriving, beautiful little boys. But I think that my tendency to feel mom guilt and to feel like a failure really points towards an area of my heart that is still dealing with a bit of perfectionism, which is something I think I've gotten over, but then it comes up in different ways. So I will talk a little bit about my favorite definition of perfectionism in just a minute, but look at the difference of just getting this wet made in my deep sink. So this is what the oil is going to do, and this really reassured me that I was on the right track with sanding this thing. And you'll see that whole transformation once I apply that oil. But I did end up cleaning this to get all of the dust off with my favorite non-toxic cleaner, which is Castile soap. And so I dilute this in a spray bottle with water and then sprayed it on and scrubbed it all off, and then left these out in the sun, and you can tell just how quickly this was. Just a few minutes later, how fast it was drying, just drying out that wood.
This one I have high hopes for.
But this one, I think I actually made worse because I tried sanding the inside and I did get off those spots, but look how the edge of the sander like destroyed that. So maybe it'll look rustic. You want to see the video? All right, so back to our conversation on mom guilt and perfectionism and just fear of failing. I think all of these are interconnected, and to give some context for what we're going on this week is we've had a lot of big emotions in this house with all the transitions. But through all of this, I get to look at these videos when I'm editing them and see our lives through kind of rose-colored glasses, the expression is, I guess, but through this edited lens. And I get to see the way that God sees my life. I have a few more thoughts on this topic, but I want to show you how these two DIYs turned out. Let me remind you where this wood cutting board and wood bowl started. And now for how they look now. All right, the next one terrified me to do because of the quality of this item that I was flipping, but it turned out really well. I'm very proud of the effect that I got, and I think it looks extremely high-end. So I've seen a lot of pillows recently made out of rugs, like old vintage rugs, pretty pricey. I did buy one for our bedroom that I'll show a little clip of. I absolutely love it, but I wanted to see if I could DIY one. So that is what we're gonna do next. So let me show you how I did this.
I'm very excited for this. So I'm gonna turn these rug fragments into pillows. And I actually showed you guys these. I got them at a yard sale. They are really, really old wool rug fragments, and I forgot where they're from exactly, but I have been vacuuming them, and then I also took them outside and like beat them a good bit. And so now I'm gonna use a technique with this. So I'll show you how I do that.
All right, now if this was a giant, huge, valuable rug that I paid a lot of money for, I probably would not attempt to DIY this. But what I found online is that you can wash them by yourself, by hand, but you want to make sure that you don't get them too wet because they really have a hard time drying, and it can actually stretch the fibers and it can get kind of misshapen. So what I'm doing there is using Dawn dish soap in a foam thing, and yes, this is like disgusting, but this was just like fuzz that was coming off of it. I thought it was really gross, but it was just fuzz actually. So I was using the Dawn dish soap and then just blotting it off with a nice thick terry cloth. I did the same thing, but I didn't end up using this brush on the more flat woven one. I ended up just dabbing it since I didn't want to kind of comb that one as I was with the one that was a little bit more shaggy wool. So what I've got going on here is my rugs, and then I have this piece of duck cloth from Hobby Lobby that I'm going to use as the backing, and then I have this old pillow that I was going to send to the thrift store, but I might as well use it inside of this new pillow. I'm going to cut these to the size that I need them to fit around this, and then I'll sew it all together inside out and add a zipper that I also got at Hobby Lobby. You can get these at Hobby Lobby for $1 when they're on sale. Normally they're $2.99, so that's the cheapest place that I have found to get zippers.
I realized that it would be very difficult to attach a zipper to a piece of rug, so I ended up putting the zipper in the middle of that piece of backing. So I will not give you a tutorial of how I attach zippers because I am nowhere near perfect on this, but I made it work. And yes, this would definitely be better if it was a blue zipper, but I had a white one and I just really wanted to get this project done. Dominic was messing with me because I was a little bit nervous to take the first cut into this vintage rug. But I think that it brings up an important point, and that is that if you are scared of starting a project or starting something in your life, it is probably because you're worried a little bit too much about it being perfect. So that's exactly what I was worried about with this project, but you will see the result isn't exactly perfect, but I absolutely still love it. And I'm so glad that I got over my fear.
But I really wanted to finish this because I can't just leave a project just like almost done. So
and this was the moment that I realized I had zipped up the zipper completely when I did this. So it was really hard to get the zipper unzipped from the outside or the inside. Does that make sense? So definitely don't do that.
Fabric is, it's duck cloth, so it shouldn't be like that stretchy. But if you were to do this, I would highly recommend getting a more sturdy backing material, just so that it doesn't, I think the sewing machine was just having a hard time like grabbing both of them maybe. I don't know, I'm not a sewing expert, but I know you're supposed to like try to keep the material kind of similar between the two materials that you're sewing together. Maybe, that's just what I've heard before, but I probably, if I was just more skilled, it wouldn't be a problem. Oh my goodness, this thing is thick. Let's see if it's anything like a rectangle. Half bad. It's definitely not like centered like I was hoping it would be, but I kind of like the uncentered look. Off-centered. Uncentered. I'm going to bed now. All right. I think this was a success. Good night.
I came back the next morning and trimmed off any excess fabric from both the rug and the duck cloth around the seam.
All right, I'm trying to get the corners like as crisp as I can, but I think it looks pretty darn good. My dryer's on. Actually, just do voiceovers. What am I doing? Anyway, I'm gonna stuff it with this furry pillow.
You'll notice that I did not get to the other rug fragment, so let me know if you want to see that one.
All right, let me remind you where we started with this rug fragment. This is how it looks, completely transformed. All right, this last one is one I almost gave up on. It just wasn't gonna be included, but it turned out. So let me take you along as we flip this lamp. When I shared this makeover, a lot of you guys said that this lamp should be bigger and the lampshade should be smaller. So enter this lamp. So I got this one at the Goodwill bins for $3, and I'm not crazy about the finish of it. So let's see if we can finish it a little bit differently by painting it, and then see if that shade will look good on it. So nasty. Worry about that. Mix.
I remember asking a friend in college who seemed like she just did it all, and she did it all gracefully and beautifully and perfectly. But I asked her, how did she do it all? And her response was that she just would do it all, but imperfectly. And I think that that is exactly true for what I'm doing this season.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. It's beautiful? Thank you.
So you'll see in a minute that there I made a big mistake on this DIY, and it provided an opportunity though to talk to my son, my 4-year-old, about mistakes and fixing them in his own life as well. So this part is smooth, like I haven't done the stippling on it, and then this side has the stippling. Can you tell that? It gives it a little bit more texture. It dried overnight. Side note, this is a beautiful white. We didn't choose this one for our walls, but it's called Atrium White by Benjamin Moore, and I absolutely love this color. So I feel like it hasn't been talked about much on like social media design things. On top of this, I want to do some speckles. So I grabbed from my craft paint this melted chocolate and black, and I'm gonna mix them together and then just kind of flick it onto here. That was so much. All right, I need to do a lot less. Don't do what I just did. That is so much. That is not what I intended. Okay, now this isn't even the mistake that I'm talking about, but definitely if you're doing this technique of trying to get some speckles on there, use your finger and kind of just brush the bristles so that it ends up looking more like this and less like a big old glob like that. But the next thing that I did was the actual mistake, and that made me kind of have to pretty much start over. I really think to myself sometimes, like, how hard could this be? Like, I can do this, no big deal. I just like turned off the camera once I started putting like a few dabs on there. Guys, it looks even worse in person. It looks like a pumpkin. I'm going for terracotta. I'm looking over at my terracotta pots, and what I'm noticing is that they have like white on top. So I think I should have done this in reverse, actually done this orange underneath and then done the white on top. So I'm gonna put more orange and then more white on top to kind of look like the mineralization. I think it's like lime is what deposits on the outside of it. I don't know, that's probably not right, but that's what my authentic real terracotta pots look like. So let's give that a try. Okay, so I guess I forgot to film a lot of this, but I went in and added the terracotta color that I have. It's literally called terracotta, mixed with a little bit of chocolate. And then on top of that, I mixed my atrium white with a little bit of brown. And then what you'll see here I am doing is rubbing some dirt on it to get the little divots filled and looking a little bit darker so that it looks even more authentic. Like old.
Do it too.
Okay, but you guys sit over here so that the camera can see him. Just scoop some up and rub it on.
I want to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just think that it would look like it's a cool idea to have like a lamp that you got from the thrift store and it's new, and then you make it look high end. Let's make it look expensive. For some reason we like expensive things to look old.
How you want to do it.
Yeah. I'm still learning too. And that's okay. It's kind of frustrating, but it's okay. I didn't let it get too frustrating. Knock it over. Okay, so I'm about to reveal it, but I wanted to swap out this picture because now that I have a taller lamp, I think it needs a taller frame. So I got this one at Home Goods, and I love the arch shape of it. It kind of goes along with the style of our home, and I think it is just perfect. Before I share the final reveal of this lamp, I wanted to ask you guys to like this video if you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below which like DIY thrift flip was your favorite. Subscribe if you haven't, and I wanted to let you know that next week I will be sharing, I think it's next week, I'll be doing another summer house tour, and then I have a thrifting video. I've already filmed those videos, like parts of them, so that they can be ready for while I'm on vacation up in Minnesota with my parents and my sister, because my sister is getting married. So I hope that you guys will come back for those, and let me remind you where we started with this lamp. And now for how she looks now. I just got the whole house tidied up. Well, I thought it would be a good time to give you guys a summer house tour.